Hello students, good morning. You are welcome in the lecture number 7 of a chapter of Ionic Equilibrium. This is our lecture number 7. In this lecture, we are supposed to complete these points, that is types of salts followed by hydrolysis of the salts. While studying the types of salts, we must know the classification of acid and base. On the basis of degree of dissociation, we have seen the classification of acid and base. There we have studied that acids are classified as strong acid and weak acid. Further, bases are also classified as strong base and weak base. On the basis of this classification, there are different type of salts we can obtain. We know the neutralization reaction. Neutralization reaction is the reaction in which acid react with base to form a salt and water. Acid react with base to form salt and water is known as neutralization reaction. What is strong acid? It is the acid which will undergo 100% dissociation, complete dissociation, and it will produce maximum number of hydrogen ions. Weak acid undergo partial dissociation, incomplete dissociation, and it will produce less number of hydrogen ions. Reversible dissociation is present. Here, irreversible dissociation is present. This is the reversible dissociation. Similarly, strong base is a compound, it is the base which will undergo 100% dissociation and it will produce maximum number of OH minus ions, maximum number of hydroxyl ions. Weak base is the base which will undergo incomplete dissociation, partial dissociation, and produces less number of OH minus ions. That is what we have studied. Here, for strong acid, we have seen the examples like hydrochloric acid, then we have seen sulfuric acid, nitric acid. These are the mineral acids which will undergo complete dissociation. In the weak acid, we have seen the example of organic acids, formic acid, then acetic acid, then benzoic acid, C6H5COOH, benzoic acid, etc. All organic acids containing carbon are supposed to be weak acids because they will undergo incomplete dissociation. They will undergo reversible dissociation, partial dissociation. Similarly, strong bases are the bases like KOH, which is undergoing 100% dissociation, sodium hydroxide NaOH, lithium hydroxide. These are strong bases. They undergo complete dissociation. Weak base is the base which will undergo incomplete dissociation. Less degree of dissociation is present. For example, ammonium hydroxide NH4OH. It is undergoing partial dissociation. It is producing less number of OH minus ions. Then magnesium hydroxide MgOH twice, calcium hydroxide CaOH twice, etc. These undergo incomplete dissociation. They produce less number of ions, less number of OH minus ions, therefore they are weak bases. So this is about strong acid, weak acid, strong base, weak base. Now we can see the types of salts. What is neutralization? I have told you. It is the reaction in which acid react with base to form a salt and water. So for example, if we have this acid HCl, this is the acid HCl. Is it strong acid or weak acid? This is a strong acid. HCl is nothing but a strong acid. If we consider that case of strong acid HCl, whenever it is treated with the base like NaOH or KOH, strong base. So this is strong acid, it is a strong base. Acid and base react together forming a salt and water, NaCl plus water. This is salt and water. Now you can tell me, easily you can tell me, NaCl is a salt which is obtained from strong acid and strong base. Therefore, it is known as a salt of strong acid, strong base. Type of salts we are studying. We are studying the types of salts. So NaCl is nothing but a first type of salt which is obtained by the combination of strong acid with strong base. Therefore, it is known as a salt of strong acid and strong base. This is the first type of salt. Second, now let us consider secondly, instead of strong acid, let us consider weak acid. This is the weak acid. This is also weak acid. Or let us keep strong acid itself as it is. HCl is a strong acid. Now take weak base. Acid react with base giving salt and water. Instead of strong acid, now strong base, now consider weak base. Ammonium hydroxide, NH4OH. It is a weak base. Again, acid react with base forming salt and water. What is the salt name here? NH4Cl, salt, and water, H2O. Therefore, this is a salt which is obtained from strong acid and weak base. Ammonium chloride. This ammonium chloride is a salt obtained from strong acid and weak base. Therefore, it is the second type of salt which is formed from the combination of strong acid and weak base. Now let us take one more combination. Here strong acid we have taken. 2 times strong acid we have taken. Strong base, weak base we have taken. Now let us change the acid. Instead of strong acid, now take the weak acid. Third combination, third one. Weak acid, acetic acid, CH3COOH. This is a weak acid. It will react with strong base as well as weak base. Whenever weak acid react with the strong base like this, sodium hydroxide, it is a strong base. Again we know this is also neutralization reaction. Acid react with base to form salt and water is the neutralization reaction. CH3COOH react with NaOH, producing CH3COONA plus H2O. This is a salt. Now, how this salt is obtained? It is the salt obtained by combination of weak acid with strong base. Therefore, this is known as a salt of weak acid and strong base. Now, let us consider the last combination, fourth combination. Weak acid CH3COOH plus weak base ammonium hydroxide. Weak acid we have taken, weak base we have taken. This is the last combination, last type of neutralization reaction in between weak acid and weak base, giving the salt CH3COONH4 plus H2O. Therefore, this salt is known as a salt of weak acid and weak base. You got it? How the salts are obtained? Salts are obtained by the reaction between acid and base. Acid react with base to give salt and water. Acid will not react with weak acid. Strong acid and weak acid, no reaction. Weak base, strong base and weak base, no reaction to form salt and water. It is necessary to have a combination of acid with base to form salt and water. As we know, acids are classified as strong acid, weak acid. Bases are classified as strong base, weak base. Therefore, the combinations take place among themselves in this four manner. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four manner combination take place, and we can get four types of salts. First type of salt is known as a salt of strong acid, strong base. Second type of salt is known as a salt of strong acid, weak base. Third type of salt over here is known as a salt of weak acid, strong base. And last one, fourth one, like ammonium acetate. The name of this salt is ammonium acetate. It is known as a salt of weak acid and weak base. So this is what we have completed about the types of salts. First point we have completed. First one. Now let us see second point of this lecture, hydrolysis of salt. See what is meant by hydrolysis of the salt. The reaction in which cation of salt combined with OH minus ion of the water, or anion of the salt combined with H plus ion of the water, or both cation as well as anion react with water to produce acidic or basic solution is known as hydrolysis of the salt. Let us see the hydrolysis of salt. Four type of salts we have completed. First type of salt is a salt of strong acid plus strong base. We have seen example of NaCl. Second type of salt we have studied is a salt of strong acid and weak base. Here we have seen the example of ammonium chloride. Third one we have seen a salt of weak acid plus strong base. Here we have seen weak acid plus strong base. We have seen the case of CH3COONA, sodium acetate. And fourth one is a salt of weak acid plus weak base. Here we have seen the example of ammonium acetate. These are four type of salts. Many salts are there. Instead of NaCl, we can prepare KCl. We can prepare K2SO4. We can prepare KNO3 also. So many salts of strong acid, strong base, strong acid, weak base, weak acid, strong base, or weak acid, weak base can be prepared. For example, we are considering here these four salts of four types. Now see what is meant by hydrolysis. Hydrolysis is the reaction in which either cation of salt combined with OH minus ion of the water, or anion of the salt combined with H plus ion of the water, or both cation as well as anion react with water to produce acidic and basic solution is known as hydrolysis. Now let us see one by one. First type of salt, like a salt of strong acid and strong base. We have to see whether this type of salt can undergo hydrolysis or cannot undergo hydrolysis. NaCl. It is a salt of strong acid and strong base. Sodium chloride is a salt of strong acid and strong base. Which is the strong acid used? HCl. Which is the strong base used? NaOH. Therefore, NaCl is known as a salt of strong acid and strong base. We have to find out whether this salt can undergo hydrolysis whenever added to water, or is it not possible to undergo hydrolysis of this salt, this type of the salt. So NaCl plus water. Neutralization is always irreversible reaction, complete reaction. See, neutralization I am telling you. Neutralization is always complete reaction, irreversible reaction that is taking place in only one direction. And this is hydrolysis. Hydrolysis is reversible reaction. See, what is neutralization? HCl react with NaOH, acid react with base, giving salt NaCl plus water. Acid react with base, giving salt and water is neutralization. This reaction is always complete, always irreversible, spontaneous, taking place in only one direction. And opposite reaction, NaCl plus water, this is known as now hydrolysis. Hydrolysis reactions are always reversible. They are incomplete. So let us see, is it undergoing hydrolysis? Reversible reaction. This reaction in the backward manner, what it produces in the backward manner? HCl plus NaOH. Now, salt is always very strong electrolyte. Why? Because salts like this type, whenever added to water, undergo complete dissociation. They will produce maximum number of ions. Therefore, this salt is strong electrolyte, undergoing complete dissociation. It is a very strong electrolyte. So, it produces Na plus Cl minus ions plus H2O. On the right side, this is strong acid, this is strong base. We have seen the classification. What is meant by strong acid and strong base? Strong acid is the acid which will undergo complete dissociation, which will produce maximum number of hydrogen ions. What is strong base? Strong base is the compound which will undergo 100% dissociation and which will produce maximum number of OH minus ions. So HCl, strong acid producing H plus Cl minus. NaOH is strong base producing complete dissociation Na plus and OH minus ions. Cancel the similar ions on both sides. Na plus cancel. Cl minus cancel. So what is the net reaction? Net reaction is water producing H plus and OH minus ions. So whenever a salt of strong acid and strong base is added to water, what is the net product? Net product is only water undergoing dissociation, producing H plus and OH minus ions. What is meant by hydrolysis? Hydrolysis is the reaction in which either cation of salt must combine with OH minus of water, or anion of salt must combine with H plus ion of the water. But here in the net reaction, neither cation nor anion of the salt combined with water. It is neither producing acidic nor producing basic solution. Water is neutral. Therefore, this salt, which is made up of strong acid and strong base, will not undergo hydrolysis. This is a salt which is made up of strong acid and strong base, will not undergo hydrolysis because in the net reaction neither cation nor anion will react with the water. That is neither producing acidic nor producing basic solution. This is a neutral solution. In the net reaction only water molecule form the ions. Let us consider one more example. Let us see the salt of K2SO4, potassium sulfate. This is formed from which acid and base? Acid H2SO4, sulfuric acid, base KOH. Acid and base react together to produce salt and water, K2SO4 2 plus H2O. So that is there our see K2SO4 and then H2O2H is there, so twice H2. That is the balanced reaction. Therefore, K2SO4 is known as a salt of strong acid and strong base. Potassium sulfate is also a salt of strong acid and strong base. Now let us see, can it undergo hydrolysis or not? Plus H2O. This is irreversible reaction, but hydrolysis is reversible reaction. It will produce strong acid H2SO4 and strong base KOH. K2SO4 on hydrolysis produces H2SO4 twice KOH, balance the reaction. Total hydrogen 2 and 2 4. So this is multiplied by 2. Balanced reaction. Now write the ionic reaction. Salts are always strong electrolytes. So salt always undergo complete dissociation. 2K plus SO4 minus minus. 2 potassium plus sulfate minus minus plus 2H2O. See the right side. See right side. This is strong acid. Strong acid always undergo complete dissociation, producing 2H plus SO4 minus minus. This is strong base. Strong base also undergo complete dissociation, producing 2K plus 2OH minus. Now cancel the similar ions. 2K plus cancelled with each other. 2K plus, that 2K plus cancelled with each other. Then sulfate minus minus cancelled with each other. What is the net reaction? Net reaction is 2H2O giving 2H plus. Sorry, what is it? This H2SO4, 2H2O producing 2H plus 2OH minus. What is the net reaction? In the net reaction, here also only water molecule undergo dissociation, producing equal number of H plus and OH minus ions. 2H plus and 2OH minus ions. Therefore, this is a neutral solution. Whenever potassium sulfate is added to water, it produces a neutral solution. Neither cation react with OH minus ion nor anion react with H plus ion. Solution is neither acidic nor basic. Therefore, this salt will not undergo hydrolysis. So from these two examples, we are easily come to know that whenever we consider a salt of strong acid and strong base, neither cation nor anion of the salt react with water. this salt will not undergo hydrolysis. This salt will not undergo hydrolysis and the solution is neutral because in the net reaction equal number of H plus and OH minus ions are present. Equal number of H plus and OH minus ions are present. This type of salt, that is first type of salt, a salt of strong acid and strong base, will not undergo hydrolysis. Now let us consider a second type of salt. Salt of strong acid, weak base. Let us see what happens, whether it undergo hydrolysis or not. Now second type of salt, strong acid, weak base. Salt of strong acid plus weak base. Is it undergoing hydrolysis and what is the nature of salt, that we have to identify. Example, NH4Cl. For hydrolysis purpose, water is added in excess quantity. Hydrolysis is always reversible, always it is reversible, and salt react with water. It produces one acid and one base. See what happened. We are studying strong acid, weak base. Strong acid HCl, weak base NH4OH, producing salt NH4Cl plus water. Therefore, NH4Cl is known as a salt of strong acid and weak base. This is a salt of strong acid and weak base. On hydrolysis, it produces this backward product. That is, it produces HCl and NH4OH. Ammonium chloride, whenever added to water, produces HCl and ammonium hydroxide. Now again write the ionic reaction. While writing ionic reaction, we know the criteria. What is criteria? Salts are strong electrolytes. They will undergo complete dissociation. Strong acid or strong base undergo complete dissociation. Weak acid and weak base undergo incomplete dissociation. So therefore, write the ionic reaction. This is a salt. Salt produces NH4 plus Cl minus ion plus H2O. On the right side, this is strong acid. Strong acid undergo complete dissociation, producing maximum number of ions. This is weak base. Weak base undergo incomplete dissociation. Therefore, it is written as it is. This is not undergoing complete dissociation. Now cancel the similar ions. Cl minus, Cl minus, cancel. So what is the net reaction? NH4 plus H2O giving H plus NH4OH. Now this salt undergo hydrolysis. Because what is hydrolysis? Hydrolysis is the reaction in which either cation of salt combined with OH minus of water or anion of salt combined with H plus ion of the water, or both cation as well as anion react with water to produce acidic and basic solution is known as hydrolysis. And in this salt, see, this is cation. Cation of the salt react with OH minus of the water and it produces NH4OH. Cation of the salt react with OH minus of the water, producing this base. Therefore, it is the salt which is undergoing hydrolysis. Always, the salt of strong acid and weak base undergo hydrolysis. Always, this salt undergo hydrolysis. After hydrolysis, see important part. Whenever cation react with OH minus, which ions are free ions? H plus. H plus ions are free ions present in the solution, and we know the salt or the solution which is containing free H plus ions is known as acidic solution. It is the acidic solution. Therefore, whenever a salt of strong acid weak base added to water, we get acidic solution. The solution, aqueous solution, aqueous, because we have taken solvent water. Whenever the salt of strong acid weak base added to water forming aqueous solution, that aqueous solution is always acidic in nature, having pH less than 7. pH of this salt solution will be less than 7, and this salt undergo hydrolysis. This is a type of salt which is undergoing hydrolysis, because we know what is meant by hydrolysis. Hydrolysis is the reaction in which either cation of the salt combine with OH minus of water, or anion of salt combine with H plus of water, or both cation as well as anion of the salt combine with the OH minus and H plus of the water. Out of those three reactions, here one reaction is taking place. Which is that one reaction? Cation of the salt combined with OH minus ion of the water. Therefore, this salt undergo hydrolysis, and the salt solution is containing 3 H plus ions. 3 H plus ions. Therefore, this salt solution is acidic in nature, having a pH less than 7. This is the second type of salt which is undergoing hydrolysis. First type of salt made up of strong acid, strong base will not undergo hydrolysis, but second type of salt undergo hydrolysis. Now, in the next lecture, we will see what happens to third type of salt and fourth type of the salt.